Read a book. Seriously. When's the last time that you read a book? If you're in high school or college, it's probably pretty recently. You probably read one for one of your classes. But before I started reading again recently, the last time I can really think that I read a book on my own was in 5th grade. And it was a Percy Jackson book. Or The Maze Runner. And I loved reading back then. But then as I grew older, technology kind of took over that spot in my life. And technology's kind of taken over that spot in all of our lives. A statistic I've written down, a couple statistics I've jotted down, is that 21% of adults in the United States are illiterate. And 54% of adults in the United States have a reading level below the 6th grade. Think about that for a second. Remember what I just said. The last time I can remember reading a book on my own volition was in 5th grade. So after that is probably about the same time that a lot of us stopped reading and stopped progressing our media skills, our media literacy in general, right? And media literacy is a big skill to have, and I'll get back to that in a minute, right? I started reading again recently, and it was more so closer to the beginning of the year of 2026, and I read a book about the French Revolution. Why? Just because I wanted to know more about the French Revolution. I started just wanting to learn more about history. And I thought, what better way than to use my library at college? And then after that, I liked it. I wanted to read more. And I wanted to have actual physical media that I could keep forever. So I started buying my own books. And as I've been reading these books, I've realized something. And it's that I've learned so much more than I ever have any other time in my life. And that's because these books, for example, my vocabulary is expanding because there's words in these books that I don't know. And I'm not just glancing over them and continuing with the book. No, I want to know what it means. So I'll look it up and I'll write down the definition. And then recently I've actually ordered a dictionary because I want to be able to read these and not have to go on my phone and potentially risk, getting into a doom scroll or even just looking at anything for more than a minute because I want to be reading. And it's nice to have the physical media there to have a book where it has the definitions of words in it that you can look through and find. And beyond that, books give you media literacy. Crap. I want to get to something before I say that. Sorry. So go out, get a book, read something that gives you education, that gives you value. Read something about the French Revolution or about history, about World War II, about slavery in America. Read a book about something like that, or about geography, or about philosophy, or about economics even. And in those books, you'll find so much value because you'll learn stuff that you just haven't learned before. You'll actually remember it. You'll remember it, right? Because we spend so much of our time in modern day currently doom scrolling on our phone and even just watching YouTube, which isn't anywhere as bad as doom scrolling. But you watch stuff and you think you know stuff, and we're in a time and there's a specific name for it, but we're in a time where we think we know so much and we actually know very little because we have all this knowledge at our fingertips. And so we see all this knowledge every day, but we don't retain any of it, which leads to us thinking that we know it, but not actually really knowing much. And that's why you should read. That's why you should read. That's why you should read. And you can go pick up a book like Moby Dick or something, like a classic, or Animal Farm. I'm trying to think of stuff I read in school. Maybe like Trevor Noah's book about apartheid in South Africa, or I gotta I don't know, just read something. You probably have stuff in mind. Or you can even just look up, valuable books to read, classic books to read, anything like that. And that leads me to the point about media literacy, is because in these books, especially the classics, you'll find stuff that's not really given to you straightforward. It's hidden within the words. It's hidden within the media. I can't think of the word I was gonna say, but it's hidden in there. You have to decipher it with your brain. You have to read it and think, okay, what does that mean? And you think back to to English class, right? That's why that is why they would always say, like, and it seemed stupid at the time, but it would be like, okay, let's take a second and decipher what they meant by, and then they'll say some stupid line from a book that you just read, and you'll be like, God, like, why is this lady saying this stuff? But it's actually important. It's actually important because it helps you gain media literacy. It helps you see stuff happening and be able to. God, I need to expand my vocabulary for this. But yeah, it helps you be able to see something and decipher stuff beneath it. And that's very important in modern times where you see stuff happening on video and you see all this stuff in politics happening, and people take from it the most ridiculous things. Like, oh, and I don't even know if I can get into it, but like, oh, it's so frustrating when you'll see someone say some of the stuff they say after watching a video where it's very obvious what's happening in it to you. Gosh, I can't really explain it, but some people will probably understand what I'm saying right now. Anyways, yeah. So, media literacy, it's so important, and you'll get it from reading all these books. My vocabulary has, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but like my vocabulary has expanded so much. Yeah, I did mention it. And it's almost a breath of fresh air. Because now when I go about my daily life, there are words that I wouldn't have used before that I'm starting to pick up and just say, because it's something that's been drilled in here. And it seems stupid, but it's not. Anyways, yeah. I hope this encouraged someone to go pick up a book or to write. I have this journal, and I'll write poetry in it. I'll write songs in it. I'll write journal entries in it. Journal entries are so helpful to get stuff off of like your chest, and it helps you be literate too, you know, and try to just get stuff out of here that you otherwise wouldn't get out of your brain, to stimulate yourself. It stimulates you. You don't need all this constant doom scrolling. You just need education. And I write deep thoughts in there, like stuff that's like stuff about the economic and political state of the world. I'll write in my journal. I'll like just my thoughts about society, because nothing I can say or do actually affects anything. So I may as well write it down and get it out. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I hope this encouraged you to pick up a book, pick up something of value for your life. Enjoy.